Hello, everyone. Good evening. You're welcome to another wonderful time of Illuminate, our midweek interactive session, where you get clarity, you get answers, you get healing from hurt, you get direction and wisdom for practical living. So it's been life transforming, it's been life changing. So you are welcome again to another wonderful time. So I want to encourage us at this time to go ahead and take the link and share with as many people as possible, even as we dive into the questions now. There's also another link right there. That's where you have the question where you can ask questions anonymously. We will know it's you, but we can answer those questions and be a blessing to as many people as possible. So please engage that as well, and then we can just get on with it. So thank you so much for joining again. I'm Debola, the lead pastor of Love Network Global Ministry. So can we just get right into the question right now? All right.
All right, thank you, sir. So the first question we have here is someone is asking, what should I do if I still have unanswered questions or concerns about my faith?
Mm. So what should you do if you have unanswered questions in your faith? So I think the first thing for us to know is that when it comes to our faith work is a long-term journey. So it's not uncommon when you encounter some level of doubt or some level of even confusion, or or just unanswered questions. It's a natural part of it as we evolve in our belief system. It is really a part of it. So I need to just assure you that you are not alone in this. You are not alone. That's very true. So be rest assured of that. So a couple of things that I want to say is number one is spend time to read and study. So learn to do this on a consistent basis. I think that's very important to do. So just keep learning, keep studying, get commentaries, get other Bible translations, and read, study, read, study. I think that is very important for you to do. Don't stop. So every day, do it. Have a cut out time that you do it. Oh, 1 hour every day, 2 hours every day, and keep doing it. So because it's about consistency. It's about consistency. See, one thing you must realize is that we cannot know it all. That's the truth. But we can know it better. We can know it better. We can know it better. And that's what's important. So the maybe craze for perfection, can be a good thing, but sometimes can put people at a very, uncomfortable place. So yes, seek to be perfect, but more importantly, seek progress, seek improvement above that, seek improvement above that. So yeah, you can gain mastery in what you're doing the more you spend time. You study, you read, you study, you read, you study, you dive into it, and before you know, what you didn't know before, you have now known. And just take a cue, some of the things that you know now, you didn't know them before. So it means that there are other things that you don't know now that you will eventually still know. But don't let's fall into the trap of you want to know it all. You are not God in that sense. So He's the all knowing. So, but thank God we have the Holy Spirit that can help us from time to time and lead us in what we need to read, what we need to study, as the case may be, depending on what we need that is coming that we may not know. So that's the advantage of the Holy Ghost. But you have a personal responsibility to do that and just do. Then the second thing is prayer and meditation. There's something about prayer, there's something about meditation that gets you deeper and get you more rooted in that which you already know. Get you deeper, get you rooted. Some things you think you know them, but they're just on the surface level. That's the truth. They're on the surface level. Is when reality starts to come and you need to engage it. You now realize, wow, there's a disconnect. When they say the rubber do not meet the road. So, but when you spend time to praying what you know, meditate, it settles in you. You are established in that present truth, and that would, really help you. So, yeah. So another thing that you can do again is, keep an open mind. So an open mind help you to, yeah, just be curious, be inquisitive. Oh, um contemplate, okay, how best can I know this? What angle am I not seeing? When you have an open mind, you interact with people and they share an angle that you're not familiar with. Your first predisposition should not be you attacking or criticizing it. It should be to inquire, to be inquisitive. That's interesting. I've not seen it like that before. So I will go back and check. So, like the Berean Christians in Acts, chapter 17, verse 10, you could look at it, verse 11, you see how that the Bible said they were more noble than, they of the Thessalonica, because after that they had heard Paul, they went back to check if the things were so. So we must have that Berean attitude, to think. So it will really help us develop our growth, develop unanswered, questions, which, they are part and parcel of life. Like I said earlier, you cannot know it all. Then another thing is you can even dialogue with fellow people. So you can have five other brethren, for example, that have the same, value, and you guys are discussing and discussing. Particularly, you pick a subject and you are sharing and you are discussing. What's going to likely happen is that by the time you are done, they will learn from you. You will now learn from them as well. So imagine that. So you now have five other people's perspective on the subject. That's really amazing. It establishes you, it strengthens your conviction that way. And a lot of things that you didn't know or that you have you have unanswered questions about would be answered as a result. I think that's very important. Having that dialogue with the right people, not, you know, endless genealogies, like Paul said, not unnecessary arguments that doesn't lead anywhere, that doesn't help. Constructive one where we are building ourselves, where everybody's sharing, not in competition, but in, edification. I think that's important to note. Then I will also share a part that is very key is, not only you journaling and learning and writing down, meditating and praying, is also to engage in service. One powerful thing about services, it helps you to bring to bear a lot of knowledge that you have. It brings it to bear. You were able to engage it in a real life situation. When you're trying to help somebody, you are praying for somebody, you are counseling somebody, somebody's going through a real life thing. So not only are you only applying to yourself, you're not using it for other people. And then you are now a blessing to them by reason of what you have. The Bible says we should buy knowledge, we should sell it not. So you are now that which you have acquired by your attention, by your focus, by your efforts, you are now able to bring it to somebody's life, and is able to tangibly change their life. I think that is very powerful. That's one part that would help you. So you can, because sometimes knowledge can be aloof, but in application, it helps to bring it to bear. The wisdom in that, your level of understanding, it brings that to bear. Do you understand? I think that's another thing that I would say. Then one other thing that I want to also speak to is, please extend some grace to yourself. Have self-compassion. That's important. See, it's a journey, like we said. So the when it comes to spiritual growth, it's a journey, it's a process. So, and it's a long one at that. So we'll never completely attain, like we get to a point I say I know it all. So extend some grace to yourself. Have self-compassion. Be easy on yourself. I'm not saying be complacent, but be easy on yourself. Subject yourself to consistent things. If you fall short, pick yourself back up and go on again. Don't self-judge yourself or you condemn yourself. You won't be any better. You can pick what lessons do I pick, I cannot be better. You speak life to yourself. You speak the life of God into yourself, and then you continue again. So, engage that self-compassion, and then you do that. Then allow the time. Some things just need to run their course. To be very honest, there are some things that we might not be able to give answers to. That's the truth. There are some things they are past finding. You can't give answers to them. So, you can box them as, God knows. You can have a God knows box in your head just to help you really, keep saying and going. God knows. I might not be able to explain it, but God knows. I stay with what I know. I don't amplify what I don't know. I amplify what I know. And from there, I trust God to, get me deeper and get me going and all that. So when it comes to our spiritual growth and all of that and the journey of our faith, is a deeply personal and involving aspect of our life. So it's deeply personal and is an evolving aspect of our lives. So respect it as such so that you can make the best of it. I hope this really, really helps you. So there will be uncertainty, there will be unanswered questions. But apply yourself as we have listed, and this would not leave you the same. I hope that helped you. Can we get to the next question, please? Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. So someone is also asking, how can I involve my family in my faith journey if they aren't Christians?
Hmm. How can you involve your family in your faith journey? Very interesting question. When it comes to our faith journey, it can be a deeply personal one, and also kind of you know be difficult when you're trying to get your family to come on board or to embrace what you know. So it can be kind of difficult because we have differing belief system. So they believe something else, you believe something else. Yeah, excuse me. So one thing that you could do is just create an environment of understanding, respect, and open-mindedness for communication. If you create that environment, what will happen most often is that they will be observing you and they will have questions. When the atmosphere is right, the environment is right, where is there's respect going on right there, there's understanding going on right there, there's open communication that is there, then they can engage you and look at we're observing this. Some of them will have questions because trust me, people are looking. People are looking, people are observing. So they will ask you, say, okay, can you tell us, oh, what's this going on and all of that? Even they don't tell you, sometimes communication might lead there. And another thing you could do is share your personal story. You have the opportunity, share your personal story of how that faith has positively impacted your life, in such a way that they themselves is obvious. This was how I was. Look at how I am now since I came to Christ. Look at my life. I'm a work in progress, but I'm not where I used to be. So they see that and they see that going on there, and they can look at your life experiences and they can say, indeed, God is good. So I think that's important. Then another thing is, be respectful and not be judgmental. No, no. When we become judgmental, that in some sense can raise a guard. It can let people begin to raise a wall, and that becomes more difficult, for them to do that. So we must respect that people can have differing belief system and all that. In fact, at the point you yourself didn't know what you knew now. So imagine somebody trying to impose or enforce on you what they know or they have, that kind of a thing. So there must be that respect going on there. There must be you being not judgmental, respecting them, fostering the atmosphere of love, of understanding, while which brings me to the next question. Why you live it as a lifestyle. So live a lifestyle of faith. Live a lifestyle of faith. It's important. You must live it. So let them see it. The Bible says in Matthew chapter 5, say, let your light so shine before men that they see your good works and then they glorify your Father that is in heaven. So live that lifestyle. Demonstrate faith as a lifestyle. Once they see it, they might not talk, but they will be contemplating in their private place, in their personal spaces. They might not talk. They see that, wow, through you, this is going well. You are living a life worthy of emulation. They see that, oh, somebody got healed. Somebody's life was transformed. Somebody got there. They became orderly. They've now received focus because they were following you or they were interacting with you. All those things they notice, they observe. They observe, and those things can really, really be, a life-changing one. So live and interact with them in a respectful manner. Let your life just show it. Let your life be one that if they're not even reading the Bible, they look at your life and your life is like a Bible being flipped. So it's the pages of scriptures being flipped. So people look at your life and say, wow, I see God in this. I see God in this. So live that life of example. So ensure that you use your life is that faith expression right there. I think that's important. Then keep showing unconditional love. Keep loving them. Keep loving them. Then pray a lot for them. In your prayer time, call their names, pray for them. Pray that the light of the glorious gospel will shine in their hearts. First Corinthians 4, that the light of the glorious gospel will shine in their heart, that the things of the Spirit will be real to them, that Christ will be formed in their heart by faith. Ephesians chapter 3, 16, 17, that, Christ will be formed in their heart. And all of those things, will go on there. As you do that, and the combination of all of these things can actually, make them come around. But Don't forget, you're not trying to force anybody. So be patient. Understand that change and acceptance take time. Change and acceptance, it takes time. So you must respect that. Allow things run their course. You must be patient with them, and you must give them room, space to explore their own belief. Give them room. Don't enforce, don't force anything. You just live the lifestyle and then support them in their journey. And then they see that, wow, it's still showing us love. And then, so what's this about? And it will make them really, really come around. So, like I said, it can be a bit difficult, can be a bit demanding where, you know this and you believe that's the way. But the way to change them is not to force them, is to show it, is to exemplify it, is to pray for them, is to be the example of that in love, in respect, and just keep, let your manner of conversation, like Paul would say, your lifestyle, let it be such that they see and is admirable. It's such that, wow, there's something more that meets the eyes and all. So the ultimate, goal is you want to get them converted by the help of the Spirit of God, not by your own force. So you must give that space for mutual communication and engage all that we've talked about. I hope this really helped to answer that. So can we go right to the next question, please?
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, please.
So here's the next question. So someone is asking, what should I do if I suspect my partner is cheating on me? And are there any red flags that indicate my partner is not committed to the relationship?
Very interesting question. So, what should you, or you are suspecting your partner cheating on you? That's one, and then what red flags should you look out for? When it comes to relationship, what stands at the bedrock of any relationship is trust and effective communication. I think those things are very critical. Amongst other things, they are very critical. So if you start to suspect your partner is having maybe infidelity issues, um, that can be depressing. It can be emotionally, you know, um, it can be emotionally damning. Like it can really affect one in a very, very negative way emotionally. So, which means that you want to really slow down. I think that's important. Slow down, because um, you want to be careful that, hope I'm not just being obnoxious. I'm not just being, excessive. So you want to be able to check that. So the starting point is have that self reflection where you want to check that, hope I'm not just being suspicious, suspicious. Yeah, people can say it in different ways to say, oh, when I feel like this, it's always almost true and all of that. But I think it's also important to always give the partner or the person the benefit of the doubt if you feel or you have a sense that the person could be. So you want to check it out. Hope I'm not just being unnecessarily, obnoxious, or I'm being suspicious, in a way that my judgment is clouded. Maybe if maybe events are happening or you expose yourself to something. So really just check that, so that you are not hasty to confront the person. So how your so which bring me to something else. Your emotional well-being is important and critical. So you might not your emotional state might, I think it's a pointer to knowing even when to have that communication. Because if you're not emotionally balanced and you are already on the edge, follow me please, what will happen is you might begin to react. you know you might not be able to have that honest conversation respectfully without being confrontational. So the timing of this conversation is important, but before that, just relax and ensure that, hope I'm not just there's not just unnecessary curiosity in me. I'm just being, suspicious, and, it might not hold water. So with me, you want to relax, and then you want to look at that. Are there evidences? What am I seeing? What is inferring what? You get, are there things that are just leading on to that might be so, that might not be so? So you want to really relax to do that. So after you are calm, I know if you have an accountable person, you might want to confide in the person, and so the person can help you align your emotions properly. Then you want to have a conversation in a very safe, calm place that is, or in a non-confrontational manner. I think it's important for me. Well, that's why I'm stressing this, because the approach can ruin the entire process. You get the approach can ruin it. What I'm sharing might not be what one size fits all. Depending, because some of these situations, circumstances, so I'm giving general principles that can help. So ensure that you are, as much as possible, you are true to yourself. If you can get an accountable person that maybe you are all accountable to, it might be nice to carry such a person along, not just any friend or people that can be saying things that might not be true, or they will fuel it more. At least you have to be careful. That's why I'm saying that it might not be one size fits all. The circumstance and the situation can warrant what and what should be. So I think that's important. Then you have that non-confrontational conversation. Then when you're having the conversation, I think it's important as well to be careful of attacking the person. So I've said before that when you are having conversation with your partner, I think you want to use the word I more than you. So what that does, at least from some of the things that we've learned, is that it doesn't feel like, oh, you do this, you do this. It can be like you are accusing me already. But when you say, oh, I'm not feeling comfortable. And the reason I'm not feeling comfortable is because I'm observing this, and it's putting me in this situation. So that way is more of, this is how I feel. The issue may be from here, not necessarily from there. So that way, you can give the person a good place to say, oh, okay, at least a reasonable partner, if which I expect, you should. I want to believe that you want to get into one that, is a reasonable person that would respect your thoughts, your suspicion. Say, oh, this is the reason why. Let you be able to give some kind of explanation. So I think that those are the kind of practical things that I can do. I can advise to say that relax, emotions are right, and then ensure that you gather the necessary evidence. What am I seeing? I'm not saying you should be an FBI. Hey, don't go and be carrying somebody's phone. There's that funny thing that go along, that your partner's phone is onions. You look at it and you start to cry. Funny stuff that people come up with, but definitely not your home partner anyway, because you're expected, or you should have. God is helping you to have a great partner that means well, and you guys can really work together. So that's the thing. Though. Then when you have that conversation, listen actively. Don't listen to judge, or to listen actively, which is why I address the emotional, state of being that is required to go into that kind of conversation. Listen actively. Be careful not to, begin to infer and bring things that will now bring that judgment of, oh, I knew it, I thought so. Why? Who is this? Such kind of things that are not surfaced before then. So yeah, so your suspicion could be right, it could be wrong, it could be either ways. So you want to ensure that you give room, the benefit of the doubt for that to happen. So listen actively and all. Then maybe if you guys have that conversation and you feel that you need support, maybe you should get one. You get professional help you need be. Maybe you get counselor or a counselor, or if you get both of you have like an accountability partner, then you want to engage that so that they can look at the issue honestly, help everybody address their end, so that it's not as though somebody is being defensive and all of that. So let that open communication happen, where you are also practicing active listening, not just listening to respond. That's important. So I think that's key. Then even in this, set boundaries to say, oh, if this is getting here, I think we might need to, you know. So set boundaries. I think that's important. I think I've touched a couple of things. So I talked about self-care, where you have to look at your emotions. It's important so that you don't put yourself in a very, very troubling place, and you're not emotionally stable and all of that kind of a thing. All right. So when it comes to the issue of what are the flags, because say you are seeing red flags, and what are the flags that are showing that your partner is not, you know, is not indicating as much commitment or interest anymore, and all of that. Because sometimes romantic relationship can be a bit complex, where um, you know, crucial things are not addressed early enough, and then some things are not coming to bear. It can be so. Now, so what are the things that we can easily look out for, so to check that? So number one is lack of communication. So if all of a sudden you guys were having good communication, and of course communication has reduced, and then your efforts to maybe get your partner to address that, they become evasive, or they become dismissive, that kind of a thing, or they start to avoid discussions. I think that could be, it could be. I think it's important for me to even put a caveat before we go on this. Understand that, and note, red flags are not indication, or they don't always mean an end of a relationship. I think that's important for me to mention. Red flag doesn't always mean an end of a relationship. They are just flags that you want to now look further and see that, oh, if it proves so, then you want to weigh your options. You want to weigh your options. So that the thing is important for me to put that out, so that you just say, oh, they pick one thing and then you go off with it. No, no. So you check that. So they could be, and sometimes it could be the other way around. They could be extremely busy or going through a lot at the time, and they are not speaking up. Either at work, or there's pressure, or maybe they are giving them a target at work. So a lot of things could be happening, or even in their home or their family. Different things could be, but some of these things could be a red flag. Lack of communication, like I said, they are becoming evasive, dismissive, and not just being available for a conversation. That could be, or they are now becoming inconsistent. Inconsistent. They are not keeping up to what they are saying and all of that. I think that's something also to check. Inconsistency. When they now lack commitment to say, oh, they say this, I don't find it like that. You mentioned this, I didn't see it like that. So some of those things can actually be, a red flag. Then of course, when they start to give limited time and all of that, so you want to check it. So to say that, oh, if their priorities are changing, or it could actually be life. Because trust me, life happens to people. So it could be life. So that's why, like I said earlier, when it comes to relationship, trust and effective communication can solve a lot of problems. So, being able to have that. Then when they are just being emotionally distant, they're not available emotionally, they're not just available emotionally, you want to really, weigh your options and all that. You just become distant, and, they stop sharing their feelings, they avoid sharing that. They seem disinterested, all of a sudden and all of that. So you want to check that. Or maybe they are now secretive behaviors, all of a sudden, every calls they are taking it where you are not. They must go somewhere to go and talk. They must, when the call comes and all, all of a sudden, maybe just unnecessarily hiding phones, just suspicion and, all of those things. It could be, it could, like I said, the fact that you observe it doesn't necessarily mean that. So, but that could be a red flag. That's important. Then, of course, also lack of planning of the future, of lack of communication of the future. Because if you are, in that relationship, and it's expected that after a while, or constructively from the beginning, you both already see we are going somewhere. All of a sudden, they are not talking about the future anymore. They're not talking about what next or this at all for the longest period. For 6 months, for 1 year, for 2 years, nothing. Then you want to be checking that and all. So when they begin to neglect, maybe your feelings. The way it is, particularly for guys, when they are trying to get a girl at the initial. So what they do is they observe everything, they know everything. What you don't even think, they think for you. They have the need for you. Now, the honest truth is that not everybody is able to keep up with that. It's always like the adventurous part of let me get this person. But then there are reasonable things that they should still be doing. But if they are not doing it, I think you want to check to see all of a sudden this person is now neglecting the things they need to pay attention to in my life and all that. Is it just familiarity that's setting in, or the fact that it's a red flag that maybe they are losing interest and all of that? And then maybe when an issue happens and they easily escalate, conflict. We are no more having proper conflict resolution. It's now any small thing we escalate to, severing the relationship. Any small thing severing the relationship. Like, why are you so quick to be going towards, severing and all that? So those could be and all. So just to share all these couple of things. So I hope that helps you. I know that there are still angles that we could look at, but relationship only thrive on trust, they thrive on communication and mutual respect. So all these things must be there. So you might want to recognize all of these red flags. If you see them, address things on time. Address them on time. So that way you don't get into too involved in a way that there's already a lot of unnecessary entanglement. Family have known each other, these have known each other. It's not difficult for people to go separate ways and all of that. So you want to check that, have an honest, open conversation so that you can determine, oh, is this relationship going to get more healthier? So are we willing to get more committed to making it work as partners? Or if we have to really evaluate, should we continue this relationship or connection? You get, so I think it's important. It's important. Like they used to say, a broken relationship is better than a broken marriage. So you want to ensure that you fix some of these things early enough so that it doesn't graduate into even more more difficult situation that is not difficult for you to handle. I hope this really helps. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. So here is the another question.
Mm,
So I think this one is in alignment with this
okay.
conversation. So one is asking,
Mm,
how can I build trust in my relationship?
mm. Okay, this is even is interesting that it's, the right follow-up question to that. So build trust. Mm, in addition to all I've said, because some of those things are supposed to already help to build trust. So you just want to be consistent, ensure that communication is going on there. Be consistent, be transparent, respect the person's boundary. I think some of these things, apologize when you are wrong, you know, forgive when, it's the other way around, you're able to do that, just have that communication going on, be reliable, then have empathy and understanding. Understand that, we are not all perfect, we could be frail. So somebody could fall short, and then, you have conversation about it and, then let the past go. It's important so that you can move on to other things. Because some people, it's difficult for them. They hold things like like hacker gum. They hold things and never let go. I will never let you go. So all of that. So you want to just, so I think some of these things are not. Then give some things time and patience. They will come through. They will come home. But I want to narrow in on one. When it comes to trust, I think self improvement is very critical. Self improvement is very critical. When it comes to self improvement, what happens then is that your partner then begin to see that your ability to add value, your ability to contribute positively to the relationship has been enhanced. I'm telling you, nothing beats that. When you are a better, in fact, when something becomes better, the other person is more careful of losing it. So when you are committed to self improvement, your partner would appreciate you more because your contribution will become evident even more than what is what before. I think that's very important for to mention. So work on improving yourself. Address personal issues. Improve. If you see maybe a defect or default that somebody has been complaining over, or you don't talk well, you get angry too much, or you don't give, or you don't do this, or you don't communicate with me, you're always distant, or you are too fixated on work and you don't have time for me. All of the kind of issues that people could talk about. When you now improve yourself and those things are now more kept at bay, not because you're just improving just for them, but also for yourself. What happens then is that they would appreciate you more. You say, wow, this relationship, I must nurture this relationship more. It will enhance the trust to say, I said this, there's an improvement. Oh, it means this person is listening to me. This person is hearing me. I think that's important. It's important to mention. So you have to do that so that your ability to contribute positively to the relationship is enhanced. I think that is very key. Self improvement, that you focus on that, it changes everything. In fact, it's the quality of who you are that you take into anything. I tell people nobody really changes when they go and marry or when they go to the altar. You know, you don't go to the altar to be altered. You know what that means? That means when you go to the altar, you are not altered. If a smart and intelligent person on suit, on tuxedo, on gown, on a wedding gown goes to the altar, is the same person. If somebody that is not diligent, the person is not disciplined, the person is frivolous, the person is not effective in management, the person doesn't communicate well, you go to the altar doesn't mean you'll be altered. So wedding doesn't necessarily change anybody. Marriage, you really, in the sense that you are seeking for it, the person will change. It could be a trap. So you must begin to see those track record before you decide to say, let's, forever, forever, let we are going to do this forever. Nothing shall pull us apart. A man and a woman shall come together and nothing shall sever you. So you want to really look at that. So building trust in relationship is an ongoing process. It requires effort from both parties. So it's a two-way thing. Don't wait for your partner. You do your part, and then trust the person also to come good and all that. So yeah, so I think it's very key. So really, trust is very key to longevity in relationship and success of a relationship. I hope this helps. So I think that's the final question where you can take for this particular session. I hope this really blessed you. So I want to really recommend that you please, share this link with people. After the live is off, I want to ask that you please comment so that we can see it. The one on the live won't see it. So like it, share the link now, and no, don't postpone it. I see you. So, and just press on that notification button, and also when we come live like this, you will see it. I hope this really blessed you. Thank you so much for riding with us. Thank you for connecting. Thank you for sharing your time, with us to learn and so that we can be better all together. God bless you real good. See you next week. Bye for now.